Well, each week we talk to the New York Post columnist Miranda Devine. Before we go to Miranda, I watched a few moments of Donald Trump's performance yesterday at the rally in Nevada. I tell you what, his energy is unmatched when it comes down to him or Joe Biden. But what his rallies show is that Trump is absolutely correct when he says that he's done more for America in 47 months than what Biden has done in 47 years. And in an age where people fear that the rules are set by an elite from which they are excluded, Donald Trump is the public's champion. One other thing I learned from watching is this. Trivial pursuit question. How many miles of Trump's border wall per day is being built? 10 miles. Can you believe? It's extraordinary stuff. Let's go to Miranda and see where we are at the latest. Miranda, good evening to you and thank you for your time.
Good evening, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What is happening?
Well, as you say, Donald Trump is barnstorming around the country, doing up to 3 rallies a day. Meantime, in the last 10 days since the New York Post broke the Hunter Biden laptop from hell story, Joe Biden seems to have spent a lot of time in the basement. I think he's come out 3 times to make some very short interstate trips.
Interrupt you. I want to congratulate you on the guts you've shown in covering that story. You'll never return home. America love this lady. But why hasn't this gained more traction?
Because most of the media seems to be covering up for Biden, and they've decided, I mean, Christiane Amanpour on CNN yesterday was telling everybody, well, look, this is not a story, and we're not going to do the job of the Trump campaign by investigating it, which is insane. The story is much bigger now than Hunter Biden's laptop. You know, Tony Bobulinski has come out and testified that Joe Biden knew what was going on with his family's cash for influence scheme. It's a scandal, and it really reflects very badly on Joe Biden. And it's interesting, there was a poll out today that just showed that the majority of Americans, despite the censorship of Facebook and Twitter, actually believe that Joe Biden knew what was going on with Hunter Biden's shady business deals and also may have benefited from it.
Well, now, that's just one story, the laptop. Then what about the story about the oil in the presidential debate? Shut down the oil industry. That would have ended any presidential campaign if the media were half fair.
Yes, and also if you hadn't had 60 million voters already have voted because of this early voting, because of the pandemic, which really skews the situation. But it has done him enormous damage in Pennsylvania in particular, because in Pennsylvania only 22% of voters have voted early. And Pennsylvania, of course, is a fracking state. It's an oil and gas state. And they already didn't trust Joe Biden because he's flip-flopped so much on fracking, saying several times that he would ban it and then denying he ever said such a thing, even though it's on tape. But the fact that during the debate last week, he said to Donald Trump that he was going to kill off the oil industry, or in his words, transition out of it, is just anathema to Pennsylvania.
Astonishing.
Alan, it's not just Pennsylvania or the oil states. It's the corn farmers in Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Surely
Michigan.
They've woken up. Just a quick one before you go. Today, the very significant decision with Amy Coney Barrett. That's a big triumph for Trump, isn't it?
Sure is. It's his 3rd justice. It actually cements the conservative bent, or the originalist bent, on the Supreme Court. She's superb, and she's a real role model for women.
Absolutely.
You know, a woman who's a good family woman and, you know, has 7 children, but also is an incredibly successful career woman.
And listen, you're not doing too badly yourself. A magnificent week for you, Miranda. Lovely to talk to you. We'll talk to you on the eve of the vote next week. There we are.
Terrific. Thanks, Alan.
Miranda Devine. Miranda Devine, we'll talk to her next week on the eve of the election.